Good evening, Ponto de Luz. I'm so happy to be here together tonight, right? For one more study of the Spirits book. It's such a joy. Every Thursday is a blessing for me to have the opportunity to study with you and pray with you. So tonight we're going to continue on question 148. But before we do so, we start with our prayer. Dear God, we thank you, Lord, for the opportunity and the blessing of being together to study, to pray, to connect with the energy of the spirituality that already prepared this evening of healing for us, of learning. May all the good vibrations, the good energies surround us and be sent to all the places that need light and healing in this evening. The hospitals and every single home that has someone struggling with any sort of disease. We ask you, Lord, to protect us in this evening and your permission to start the study of the Spirit's book with our hearts always filled with gratitude. So be it. It changes everything, right? I love that song. Prayer changes everything. Tonight we're going to continue on question 148. Remember, question 148 talks about materialism. For us not to lose the idea that we need to convey here on this part, this is the part that explains the answer about materialism. So we're going to finish this question, but let's begin. Let's go a little back into the beginning of the explanation because it is important. Otherwise, we're not going to grasp the full meaning of the question. So, how would it be if we were not believing in anything that survives matter? What would that be? How would that be? And this is what we're going to learn today. So, question 148, we asked the question about materialism. There is the answer and there is the explanation. If you need to ever remit to any of our previous questions, please, on our website here on our YouTube, we have all the Spirits book from the beginning. So you can go to the past week and the one prior to it. Please do so. Follow. It's really important that we study this book. It is an aberration of the intelligence that leads some to see nothing in organic beings but the action of matter as the basis of all our own actions. That in itself is already a very good explanation, right? It has to be an aberration to believe that there is nothing more than matter. We do, as spiritists, we do know that the spirit is the source of intelligence. The spirit is the source of life. Once the spirit disconnects from the body, it's just inert matter. So let's continue. They see, talking about the ones that are materialists, right? They see nothing in the human body except an electrical machine, and they have not studied the mechanism of life except in the functioning of the organs. They have seen life extinguished many times by a ruptured artery, but they perceive nothing except that artery. And we love that part because when you see cause of death, an artery was ruptured. And then what? What's left? We're going to continue. They have tried to discern whether or not there is something else, but they have found nothing but inert matter. That's exactly what it is. Moreover, since they have not seen the soul escape or being able to capture it, They have concluded that everything rests in the properties of matter, and thus, after death, thought is reduced to nothingness. So let's go back a little bit. In the introduction of the Spirit's book, we do have the understanding of Kardec's brilliant explanation regarding science trying to oppose objections to Spiritism, because at that point in 1857 there was nothing that could fundament the discoveries that were being made. So Kardec started that, obviously not alone, with a group of very morally brilliant individuals that helped him, mediums that served as instruments to receive the communications from the spiritual world. And every part of this study was so serious, with so much dedication. And science at that point could not understand. Nowadays, fast forward 2021, science already recognizes and admits the existence of the spirit. There's so many. We could just go on and on about the understanding that now we have, that this is just not all that is. Once the body finishes um, its process, being born, growing, and getting old in the normal flow of life, the body remains and the spirit is set free. We're going to see this is beautiful, this explanation on question 148. So, continuing, this would be a sad conclusion if it were true, because then good and evil would have no meaning. So, if there's nothing waiting for us to continue, nothing would have meaning. You could do good, you could do bad. There would be no consequences. Think about that. And Kardec is going to explain further down on the next paragraphs how society would be. We would be like, he describes and he uses the words wild animals. So when people criticize anyone that believes in the afterlife, in the life of spirit, we really do not we do not see that as criticism. Even the introduction of the Spirit's book is so detailed about that. We know, and we're going to have tons of explanations and discoveries. And now Spiritism has been object of study in medical schools, some medical schools in Brazil. So we have come a long way. And we're going to continue on question 148 to understand that better. Social ties would be broken and the holiest affections would be destroyed forever. Fortunately, such ideas are far from being the rule. One could even say that they are very circumspect, composed of nothing more than individual opinions and nowhere erected as a doctrine. A doctrine of materialism, right? So we can't accept that or comprehend that way. A society founded on such a basis would contain its own seeds of dissolution, and its members would tear each other to pieces like wild animals. What keeps us living in morality, in goodness, striving to become better every day, is because we do know. We do not even believe. We know that we're planting the seeds now for a future life. We know. There's no doubt about it. So whatever I do here, whatever I plant, that's what I'm going to see. I'm building every brick of every brick of my house in the spiritual world is being laid on here. In the now, with my actions, with my thoughts, with my words, all of that matters. And it matters that we strive to become better because this is the destiny. We're all destined to perfection, right? We're all, and we're going to say that over and over again, all under the law of progress. All of us. This next paragraph, Kardec puts one of the most beautiful sentences that explains this belief in the afterlife. Humans instinctively have the conviction that things do not end for them once life is over. They abhor the idea of nothingness. They abhor means abominate. They hate. They despise. I'm going to read it again. Humans instinctively, where is the law of God written? And the spirits answer that question in our conscience. So when he says this is so true. Humans instinctively have the conviction that things do not end for them once life is over. They abhor the idea of nothingness. And we see it on the most primitive cultures. It's been on their caves, on their tombs, the understanding that life doesn't end with death is so much freedom. And also creates for us the sense of responsibility of what we do here and in the now, in the here and in the now, right? That's the most important thing. In vain, they rebel against the idea of a future life, and when the supreme moment arrives, there are only a few who do not ask what will become of them, because the idea of leaving life behind forever is too painful. Who indeed could indifferently face an absolute and eternal separation from everything that has been loved? So your parents, your brothers, your aunts, your loved ones, they go, even your animals. And it's gone? Mm-mm. No, not at all. Who could watch without terror the immense abyss of nothingness opening before them, ready to swallow forever all their faculties and all their hopes, and at the same time say, "That's it. After me, there's nothing. Nothing but nothingness. Everything is gone without an appeal. A few days from now, and any remembrance of me will be gone from the memory of those surviving me, and there will be no trace of my passage on the earth. Even the good that I have done will be forgotten by the ingrates I've served, and there is nothing to compensate me for this, no prospect except my body being devoured by worms." So say the materialistics, and we cannot understand it like that. Continuing, isn't there something horrifying and chilling in this picture? Absolutely. So everything that was achieved here, the memories, the affections, the skills, all the learning, all the intellectual progress that was done, it's not lost. You take it with you. Those are the things that you take with you. And it's like a bird, right? We always use the two wings of freedom: intellectual growth, spiritual growth. One without the other. Imagine that little bird just jumping up and down without the two wings to fly. Intellectual growth, spiritual growth, moral growth. They have to be together. You gotta learn and you gotta practice it in goodness. That's the way. That's the way. There's no um there's no shortcut to this. Learning and being good. Doing both. This is what has endangered doubt in so many. Is it correct to believe we have a soul, but what is it? Does it have any kind of form or appearance? Is it a limited or undefined being? Some say that it's a breath of God, others that it's a spark, while still others state that it is part of the great whole, the principle of life and intelligence. But what does all this offer us? And we know, right? We studied question 134 and 144, definitions of the soul, together with the first one that's on the introduction. So we have not different, we have different ways to approach that question about the soul, and those are the three ones that I can just out of my memory I can tell you. Introduction 134 and 144. What does having a soul matter to us if after death it will be merged with the immensity, like drops of water in the ocean? Isn't losing our individuality the same as nothingness? It is also said that the soul is immaterial. However, an immaterial object cannot have defined proportions, and so for us, it is the same as nothingness. So if we consider that we have a soul, but when we are out of the physical body, when death comes, right? Which is going to be our next chapter. We're going to talk about death, and it's wonderful, the explanation of the spirits on that chapter. If we consider that we lose our individuality, so why? Why would we love so much? Like you see, this couple that I love, that I was just talking to them right now before we get to the transmission here. Now, the way they treat each other, the way they love each other, why is that being built? Just to be forgotten? Once you go back to the whole and losing on the merging, like what it says here, losing or merging in the whole? No, we remain living our lives and very consistent to what we did here. And this is what we're building for our future there too. Cities, wonderful colonies, houses, friends, people working. We're not going to be on a cloud, guys, singing and playing harp all day long. That is not the reality. There's a lot of work. And when we are disconnected, partially disconnected um, by the sleeping, right? When we're asleep, um, we do go to places and we do work. And sometimes we do remember. Sometimes in the morning, I remember every single detail, and I'm like, oh my God, that was quite a night. And some days I have no remembrance of anything. But some days in the morning, I wake up and I can describe exactly where I was. And sometimes it's the same place that I can remember I was there in a previous dream, right? And I see happy. One of these weeks, I remember going with a friend on an elevator, and once the elevator opened on this beautiful place, it was like a white room, and there were so many people that I knew there. And one of them comes, Teresa, and he hugs me, and it was just such a joy. Look, I get the goosebumps just talking about it because that was an encounter. I was there visiting and working and seeing those friends. And I remember their faces, I remember their clothes, I remember everything. It's such a joy to understand and believe in what we believe. We're so blessed because things like that make us understand that we have them there watching over us, cheering for us, making sure we're gonna make it. all of us, we're all going to make it. So here and there, we're working, we're striving to become better. Religion also teaches us that we shall be happy or unhappy according to the good or evil we have done. But what is the happiness that awaits us in the heart of God? Is it blissfulness, an eternal contemplation with no other concern than that of singing praises to the Creator, right? I just said that. And are the flames of hell a reality or only a symbol? The church itself understands them in the latter sense. What then are the sufferings of hell? Where is this place of punishment? In short, what do we actually do, and what do we actually see in that other world that waits for each one of us? So those are questions, right? Important questions. If we don't question this, right, we're like numb. Is it usually stated that no one has it is usually stated that no one has ever returned to give us an account of what exists over there. Is it true? No, it's not. We say that in Portuguese, right? Ninguém nunca voltou para contar, which is not true. So this is the saying, no one has ever returned to give us an account of what exists over there. Not true. So Kardec is going to explain that, and that's the last paragraph. That, however, is an error. And Spirit's mission is precisely to enlighten us regarding that future, to enable us to see and touch it to a certain extent, no longer through reason, but through facts. Facts. Everything that was described in introduction, all the phenomena, where the turning tables were writing complete sentences and messages, and even the handwriting was the same, from the same spirit, from a different message. Can't dispute that. But let's continue. Thanks to spirit communications, this is no longer conjecture or a probability that each one paints at will, nor is it something that poets embellish with their fictions or dressed up in allegorical images that seduce us. Instead, it is a reality that shows its face to us. Reality. Our reality is not here. Our reality is there. This is transitory. This is temporary. We're visiting. Real life is a spiritual life. Because it's the very instead, it is reality that shows its face to us, because it is the very beings from beyond the grave who have come to tell us about their situation there and what they do, allowing us to watch, so to speak, the events of their new life, thereby showing us the inevitable fate reserved for us according to our own merits or faults. Is there anything anti-Christian in this? That's the question. Quite the contrary, since disbelievers find faith, and the lukewarm enjoy a renewal of zeal and confidence. Zeal and confidence. Two things. When you believe there is a life after death, you have zeal and confidence. Hence, Spiritism is religion's most powerful aid. If such is the case, it is because God allows it and permits it to reanimate our wavering hopes and lead us onto the path of goodness through the hope for the future. Leads us on to the path of goodness through hope for the future. We know it, right? We know it. And it's the most comforting thing to know that everything that's going on now is transitory. Like Teresa of Avila. used to say, don't have your heart troubled by afflictions. Everything shall pass. This too shall pass. Have patience. Only God lasts forever. And with that in mind, we're going to always understand that every difficulty, every struggle, every challenge just makes us stronger. And it's just a way for us to learn, polish ourselves, become better, and get our two wings strong. Not only one, the two wings need to be strong. An intellect without morality, without spirituality is empty. And spirituality without the knowledge that we must acquire as spirits to understand and to share that knowledge. That's what we have to do. We don't keep that to ourselves. We share the knowledge. So, next chapter is very exciting. We're in chapter 3, the return from the corporeal to the spiritual life. And what is that? Death. So, the next chapter we're going to start, and it has wonderful topics: the soul after death, the separation of the soul from the body, and the spirit state of confusion after death. So, we're going to study all of that together on our spirits book. We're at the top of the hour. So let's do our final prayer and thank God for all the blessings of the study of this miraculous book, the book that brought us the beginning of everything. Let's pray. Dear God, we thank you for the blessings of this hour. We thank you for putting this wonderful, wonderful gift in our hearts, the faith that moves us, the understanding that makes us stronger, stronger. We believe you, Lord, in your words. We believe in everything that you, Jesus, taught us 2,000 years ago, and we're now fully understanding and trying to live the best we can. Protect every single home that is now participating in this meeting and the ones that are going to watch it later. Protect all humanity and bring light and awaken the conscience. Be with us, Lord. Be with us. So be it. I just hope that we all have a wonderful, restful evening. And we're going to see each other again on Sunday at 12 noon and on Tuesday at 8 p.m. New York time. Again, we'll see you on Thursday. Thank you for joining us. Share this and the other studies that are here on Ponto de Luz YouTube channel. There's so many good events and things that are recorded there for you. And we'll see you again on Thursday.